welcome to the Tea and a Buddy podcast with me, Dominic.
And me, Erica.
Today's episode, we're going to be talking about a famous author who wrote something. Well, she didn't write that theme, that was John Williams, but it's well synonymous with
Yes.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
JK Rowling, Joanne Rowling, Joe Rowling,
Yeah.
Joanne Rowling.
Yeah.
Rowling.
Specifically,
all the places that inspired Harry Potter
yeah.
apparently didn't. She went on Twitter recently.
Yeah.
And we saw a thread from her since we follow her on there. And you can go follow us on Twitter too, T-Buddy.
Mm-hmm. Butty.
Butty.
Yeah.
For the crew.
Just to get completely off topic straight away, we recently have found out how many of you don't know what a buddy is.
So do you want to clear that up for our listeners?
Well, you go ahead.
Well, it's just basically a sandwich.
It's a sandwich.
It means a sandwich. It's
with
a
butter.
With butter, yeah. I mean, it's a colloquial Northern English slang term for a sandwich, butty.
Yeah.
Butter.
Mm-hmm. And it can be any kind of sandwich.
Any kind of sandwich.
Bacon.
Like bacon butty.
Chips.
Chip butty. Cheese butty,
Yeah.
Cheese is another one.
So tea and a buddy, it's like things you would have while you're sitting down for a chat.
Oh, yes.
Anyway, JK Rowling.
JK Rowling. Yeah, she said, I was thinking of putting a section on my website about all the alleged inspirations and birthplaces of Potter. I'd been writing Potter for several years before I ever set foot in this cafe, so it's not the birthplace, but I did write in there, so we'll let them off.
Yeah, it all started...
They're talking about the Elephant House Cafe in Edinburgh.
Yeah, it all started on Twitter with this guy, Miguel Rodriguez.
Miguel, how are you, mate? We don't know him.
We don't know him. Who sent her a picture of the Elephant House Cafe and was just like, can you clear this up? Is this the actual birthplace?
Tell me the truth about this birthplace of Harry Potter.
Yeah, because I think they have that in the window or something, don't they?
You can see it in the photo there on the front of the cafe, the Elephant House. It's like birthplace of Harry Potter.
Yeah,
and they've put it birthplace in quotation marks because
have they?
Yeah, but it's because he's not real. Harry Potter isn't real. It's like saying the birthplace of James Bond or the birthplace of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
I think that's what they mean. They think that she started writing Harry Potter there and she wrote the first book there. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like what they're trying to imply. Like, oh yeah, she did write there.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, I wrote whatever chapters and stuff there, but it wasn't the first time.
This is a really interesting topic because we have seen so many vloggers on YouTube visiting all these different locations, which are alleged
vloggers and even official
inspirations.
People.
Yeah,
Travel Man went to Porto
or
Porto in Portugal. Where JK Rowling lived there. I guess she lived there or she stayed there for a long time. So there's this bookshop there that's kind of like got a fabulous interior.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called. It's like I guess they're calling it the Harry Potter Library. Everybody's going there. Travel Man went there and was like, oh, this is where...
if you guys are a fan of Richard Ayoade, you should look up Travel Man.
Check out Travel Man.
It's a really funny travel show, and it comes on what? Or actually,
Channel
I think
4.
It's finished now.
It's finished now, but it used to come on Channel 4.
Yeah, you may be able to find it online somewhere.
Yeah.
He's hilarious anyway, and it was a really fun travel show because he's so funny. But yeah, there was an episode where they went to this bookshop in Portugal, which I had never heard. This as an inspiration, but when you see this bookshop, it's like it's got all the staircases, all the like kind of wonky.
It's got a wonky staircases. It's got library. It's got like a stained kind of glass ceiling. It's very Hogwarts-ish.
Yeah.
JK Rowling, though, says, for instance, I never visited this bookshop in Oporto, never even knew of its existence. It's beautiful, and I wish I had visited, but it has nothing to do with Hogwarts.
It's like, where did they come up with that? that?
Obviously somebody went, a fan or whatever, they read, JK Rowling's life story, she lived in Oporto for a while with her mates.
We didn't look
and so they went to this bookshop and they were like, she must have come here to write. This is Hogwarts. This is it. This is the,
I mean, you guys, unfortunately, we don't have the name of this bookshop, but just Google Oporto. Actually, Dominic's going to do it whilst we're recording. Oporto Harry Potter bookshop. Because, I mean, if ever there was an inspiration that I've seen as a claim, to Harry Potter, this place looks like it should have been. I mean, I can see where JK Rowling's like, oh, I wish I had gone here, but no, the funny thing in all of these kind of tweets where she's debunking the myth about
Lello Bookshop is what it's called.
Lello.
Leyo,
I would say in Spanish.
Leyo,
but yeah, they don't.
Leyo, yeah. But
Lello.
It's in Portuguese it might not be.
Yeah. Yeah, so look it up. It's really beautiful. But no, it's funny her debunking all of these.
Yeah,
alleged
I mean it's kind of a
inspirations.
double-edged sword really, because the businesses are going to be really, really
upset.
annoyed and upset.
Yeah.
They're going to be annoyed and upset because it's kind of like they're making their livelihood on the Potter tourism.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not really fair, is it? Especially if it literally has absolutely nothing to do with Harry Potter. But this place is gorgeous.
Yeah.
And, but I think it's pretty impressive then that all of these places basically just existed in her head, It's just like, she's like, oh, actually, and somewhere down the thread, we'll get to it, I guess, she shows a picture of a place where she actually did write, and it's just this very, like, gloomy,
she says,
very boring looking place.
She said, this is the true birthplace of Harry Potter if you define birthplace as the spot where I put pen to paper for the first time. I was renting a room in a flat over what was then a sports shop. The first bricks of Hogwarts were laid in a flat in Clapham Junction. I mean, it's easy to say, when someone gets famous and they go, where did you start? What your beginnings? It's easy to rewrite the history a bit and say, well, it was all a magical tale.
Yeah.
And I went into this bookshop and
I looked at this staircase in this bookshop in Porto.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying JK Rowling, obviously she didn't do that. I don't know if she did in the very early days, I'm not sure, but over time people have just theorized and come up with their own, this is where it was, because something's famous, they stake their claim. It's kind of like the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, the Beatles came here once. This is the birthplace of the Beatles.
You know what happened? Somebody probably went in this bookshop in Portugal and said, oh, this looks like
Hogwarts.
This looks just like all the crazy staircases.
This is obviously
Hogwarts.
Where she got it. She must have come here. No, she's not remembering.
Yeah.
They'll be saying that.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh yeah, she visited here several times, because they're probably going to start saying that because she just doesn't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Clapham Junction.
Maybe she'll go there now.
Maybe she'll go there now, and yeah. And it's like, and she further says, if you define birthplace of Harry Potter as the moment when I had the initial idea, then it was a Manchester to London train.
I've heard that story before, to be fair, years ago. So yeah, I mean, that's real. That's a story she's stuck with.
So if you really want to get inspired, get on a train from Manchester Piccadilly to London Euston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that's a pretty, you could do some good riding on a train like that. Yeah.
This building, and then she went on and said, this building in Manchester used to be the Bourneville Hotel. Pretty sure it's this building. It might be the one along. Anyway, I spent a single night there in 1991, and when I left the next morning, I'd invented Quidditch. So it's this really kind of humdrum looking place.
All the
used
places...
to be the Bourneville Hotel in 1991.
Yeah.
And she'd invented Quidditch.
All the places she's showing that are like the actual places, a train, this flat above a sports shop, this like really sad looking building. It's just like there's nothing magical about them,
Yes.
And funnily enough, they probably don't have anything on them that say, this is where JK Rowling. Is it Rowling or Rowling?
Rowling or Rowling?
I
think it's Rowling. I mean, it's
JK Rowling. I say
think
both. I think.
I think I say both too. I'm not sure.
I don't know what she says, but but yeah,
Yeah.
These places may or may not even know. Like, this may be the first time she's ever said, "Oh, by the way, I invented Quidditch in this."
Yeah.
Generic looking little
hotel. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not even a hotel anymore. And I mean, she starts talking to people who like lived in Edinburgh around the same time. She goes, "Oh, you wrote in Nicholson's, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you write in it?" She goes, "Yes, I did. Oh, I wrote an entire chapter there once.
Yeah.
I think it's a Chinese restaurant now,
Yeah.
or something." She said. And I did write in the Elephant House, and I wrote somewhere else as well. Wherever. Because I haven't got researched her entire life story or a biography and everything, but she was fired from a job because she was writing Harry Potter.
We saw a biopic one time.
That was a terrible.
It's like a made-for-TV.
It was a Hallmark biopic or something.
It
wasn't
was not on Hallmark.
Yes, it was. It was like a TV movie.
It was in
and
it was a British one though, wasn't it?
No, I think it was made over here.
Mm-hmm.
It was like those Harry and Meghan type things that they make. Harry and Meghan, the story of the beginning. It was JK Rowling, the story of the beginning, and it was kind of terrible, as I remember, because it's like
remember.
it showed her in the woods and having this vision of Harry Potter, which sounds like, I was in the woods and I was in the, and I had this vision of Harry Potter, which is not true. She had the idea on a Manchester to London train.
Yeah.
And then she further went on to say, "I sometimes hear Hogwarts was based on one or other Edinburgh schools, but that's 100% false too. Hogwarts was created long before I clapped eyes on any of them, but I did finish Hallows in the Balmoral Hotel, I guess, or yeah, I guess that's a hotel. And I can't lie, I'd rate it a smidge higher than the Bourneville." Which was where she invented Quidditch. I mean, by the time of Hallow, she was rolling in it.
Yeah. And she's shown a picture of it, and it's absolutely fantastic looking.
Yeah, she's the old upstairs in Nicholson's Cafe, and
No, what I was gonna say is I've always found it interesting, and it's happened since forever. People want to go where Charles Dickens or Ernest Hemingway or whoever was known to go sit and write, or even just go and sit and think and have a chat, with friends or whatever. People flock to these locations, like these aspiring writers. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say anything about it because, but I don't know what they're hoping to, I guess, soak up some of that like
inspiration,
energy. No, just like the energy floating
the atmosphere. And it's just kind of like, your energy is your own, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like going to the Grapes or the Cavern or going into John Lennon's bedroom. This one guy went into John Lennon's bedroom. I don't know if it was when we were there or if I heard about it from someone else later on. And he just started going like that, trying to like... trying to like inhale the essence of John or something, and I don't know what he was trying to do, but yeah. he was trying to do, but yeah, but it's like that kind of thing. It's like someone going into the gas.
Yeah.
I'm a writer. I want to be as prolific as JK Rowling. Going into Nicholson's Gardens, going, just like,
into the Elephant Cafe.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, I mean, don't you want to have your own story? You want to have your own, like, I got the inspiration for my writing, sitting on a park bench or whatever.
Sitting on a park bench, write your own story, man.
It's like, I don't want to say, well, I was copying JK Rowling.
Well, I was sitting in the I was like looking for inspiration, and it's just like, you're not really though. You're just following in the footsteps, aren't you?
I mean, hate to say enough, that because it's
fair enough.
Like...
I'm sitting in my bedroom and I got inspired by the Beatles. That's kind of like my story. I wasn't like going to the the cavern and just sitting there and waiting for something to happen to me.
Yeah.
Waiting for me to write my first hit song,
Yeah.
She talks about, I wrote the bit where Harry buys his wand sitting under a tree, appropriately enough. I can't absolutely guarantee they haven't taken away the old tree and planted a new one in the same corner of the field. I haven't been there for nearly 30 years, but I think it's this one. And she
shows a picture.
I think it's this tree.
Go find it. Go find this tree and sit under it, and maybe you'll write something as brilliant as Harry Potter.
And someone says, yes, but someone says, when you do so, can you put paid to the Uni of Exeter based rumours that the old firehouse is the leaky cauldron, and that the very definitely straight line Gandhi Street is Diagon Alley?
Oh, there's so many claims of Diagon Alley.
The shambles is the biggest claim.
Yeah.
Because it kind of looks a bit wonky.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, it's Gandhi Street in Exeter because she went to the University of Exeter.
Yeah.
And the old firehouse is Leaky Cauldron. And she said, yeah, both of these are untrue, I'm afraid. I can't remember ever going to the old firehouse when I was a student, and Gandhi Street is nothing like the Diagon Alley in my head.
Yeah, there's also some street in London, I think, that claims to be Diagon Alley inspiration. It's I know I've seen it in a vlog somewhere. There's so many vlogs, you guys. You can watch a whole day of vloggers visiting these locations that JK Rowling supposedly visited and got inspired for this place or this event or that event in Harry Potter, I think you're better off going on a tour of filming locations if you want something to do with Harry Potter.
Much better. Yes.
Yeah.
This is quite funny, though. She goes, if it cheers up the people who are disappointed about the bookshop in Oporto, because probably people are going, I went there, and I thought it was.
Well,
and,
no, seeing it, you would think this definitely, I think I said, oh yeah, this is definitely the place, because it looks very much, more so than anywhere else that's ever claimed any sort of relation to Harry Potter. I was like, yeah, this place definitely, she's obviously been there.
Yeah. And if it cheers people up who are disappointed about the bookshop in Oporto, I wrote in here sometimes. This was probably the most beautiful cafe I ever wrote in, actually. The Majestic Cafe on Rua Santa Caterina. So she wrote in there sometimes.
Okay.
So if you want a setting that inspires you, then that's it.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful. Yeah, you guys will have to look up this thread.
Is the worst thing. We're just talking about the shambles. She goes on to further debunk the shambles.
Oh no! Yeah,
Someone
the
goes,
shambles. There are so many Harry Potter stores in the shambles because this is Diagon Alley. The Shambles is a street in York, by the way.
Yeah.
Which we've never visited, and whether it was the inspiration for Harry Potter or not, it looks very Harry Potter-esque. Yeah, yes. So I definitely still want to go there either way,
Someone said there are businesses here in York who will fight anyone, probably including you, JK Rowling, who doubts that Diagon Alley is actually the shambles. I would not recommend coming between a Yorkshire shopkeeper and their marketing. And JK Rowling goes, well, looks like I've got a fight on my hands because I've never seen or been to the shambles.
Oh my god! Yeah, we hadn't seen that when we looked at this thread originally, because we were talking about it. We were like, I wonder if anybody's going to ask her about the shambles, or I'm surprised nobody's asked her about the shambles. Oh my god. Yeah, that's hardcore, you guys. If you look it up, there are so many Harry Potter stores on that street. Like I'd say maybe almost every 2 stores is a Harry Potter store, probably.
Yeah, there's the shop that must not be named, which is run by a friend, I think, or started by a friend who's a massive Harry Potter fan. There's other wizarding shops and stuff like that. They're all like Harry Potter because this is where it was born. This is Diagon Alley, everyone.
And it does.
I will fight anyone, including the person who's... No, you're wrong, actually. This is it. This is it, Jacob. I don't care. I don't care what you say. You are lying to us all.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently there's a Harry Potter tour in Edinburgh, and some guy responded to it saying, overheard a Harry Potter tour in Edinburgh discussing the very parking meter used by JK Rowling while writing the Deathly Hallows. And she goes, my favourite bit of utter nonsense about Potter landmarks is still this one. I can't drive.
Oh my gosh. She's just, they're lobbing him up there, and she's just drinking him, patting him right back down.
And now she's got everybody piling on her. So I made the mistake of mentioning Quidditch in this thread, and I'm now receiving the usual complaints about the scoring system. I've already explained, but for those who never saw it the first time, here you go. And of course, she linked to a thread about it. You know? But of course, people are like, oh, the scoring system's weird. It's like, it's a made-up game. You can't actually play it. But there are people who will go out there playing it. It's like, it's actually supposed to be played on wands in the sky.
On brooms.
On brooms in the sky. No wands allowed, actually, in Quidditch, isn't it? That's the rule.
No, I think they must. They must have a wand, don't they?
No.
Oh. Oh, no. Yeah, no, because he's got to reach out and catch the snitch.
Yeah, he's got to reach out and catch the snitch.
Oh,
and you can't,
gosh.
and, people will be zapping people and everything, wouldn't they?
There are actual
I've
Quidditch
seen it.
leagues,
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just keep the broom between their
And I mean,
legs
it's great.
and they run around the field.
Which is unbelievably idiotic, because it's like, that thing is in your way. You know? What are you trying to do?
They're pretending they're flying, okay?
Which is fine. Okay, you know.
Yes,
but
they're having fun. Leave them alone.
But she didn't use the parking meter.
Oh, gosh. Parking
But
meter.
yes, there's a lot of...
I mean, if I took a tour... Oh, here's Harry Potter locations, Harry Potter related locations, inspirations to JK Rowling's books, And someone went, this is the actual parking meter that I think I would just roll my eyes. Like, I would just leave the tour if somebody pointed out a parking meter to me, because it's just like, hopefully you haven't paid for this tour. You know what I mean? Oh God!
I'm just reading. Yeah,
what's the next one?
I'm just reading through this thread. It's quite funny because she's just kind of coming out with all this stuff. She goes, "I'm laughing here." I mean, first of all, she says, "I was mostly sitting in places I could get a cheap coffee / could afford the rent and making it all up."
Yeah, right.
Which is what it's coming out of her own head. It's not inspired by that twig over there.
Yeah,
it's just literally like. I will say, though, that, she must have watched something, and it goes into your head, and it just goes, because when you watch things, I've shown you pretty much every British TV show of the past 40 years, which she would have watched, too. Mm-hmm. And you can see like what must have been like an inspiration for Harry Potter.
Well, I mean...
But, I mean, she could say, no, it wasn't. No, I don't think so, and it's just like...
old fairy tales and stuff.
Old fairy tales.
She's taken
everything's
werewolf.
Like, boom, boom,
she's
boom,
taken,
I mean, but there's elements of things that I've seen. Like, for example, Robbie Coltrane plays Hagrid in the movie. Mm-hmm. And he also plays the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, I think, isn't it?
And he looks just like Hagrid.
In the Blackadder Christmas, and he looks exactly like Hagrid. And this was years before. This was probably about 2 years before she started writing Harry Potter.
But to be fair, that could have been the people turning the books into the movie that said, "Oh, Robbie Coltrane. That's what I imagine Hagrid to look like."
But still, that's true.
Rather than her thinking that in her head.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's true with a lot of this. Maybe somebody on the movie set had been to this place, this bookstore in Oporto, and was like, "This is what I want the inside of Hogwarts to look like. All these staircases, all these books up to the ceiling." You know what I mean? Maybe somebody creating the movie sets had been to some of these locations and were visually inspired like that.
Yeah, that's true. Because I'm laughing here. Before I started this thread, I had no idea how many different streets were claiming to be the inspiration for Diagon Alley. But this is the first time I've seen Nocturne Alley. Neither was based on any real place.
What did someone say?
Someone said, what about Goodwin's Court / Cecil Court in Covent Garden? There were dozens of tours a day declaring those as Nocturne Alley and Diagon Alley prior to lockdown. I mean... Again, this is the same thing with the Beatles. It's like someone told a story about I was in Liverpool one day, they lived in Liverpool, and they saw this guy taking these Chinese tourists to Sefton Park and saying it was Strawberry Field,
Yeah.
saying, this is Strawberry Field, and they because Japanese tourists, Chinese tourists, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
taking, and he was just like, that's not Strawberry Field, you just lied to these people and took their money,
Yeah.
and it's what they're kind of doing at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Believed to be would be better, but now
Yeah.
she's kind of come out and said, nah, it's not.
Yeah.
They're kind of having a leg to stand on now.
Well, the next tweet says, starting to worry I might suddenly disappear. If that happens, please question the British Association of Harry Potter tour guides first.
Yeah. She's gonna.
I mean, is that a real thing? But
mean,
British Association of Harry Potter tour guides.
Real Harry Potter inspiration alert. I walk past this sign every day on my way to work when I was living in Clapham. Much later, post-publication, I revisited the area and suddenly realised this was why Severus had leapt into my head when thinking of a first name for Snape. Severus Road in the borough of Battersea.
Well, there you go. That kind of goes along with
so
something
people
you
go
said.
to Severus Road. That's where Severus was born. Okay, everyone.
No, what you were just saying about things that she's seen or places she's been or whatever that she might just not remember went into her subconscious, and when she was writing, they came back out.
Yeah, people are. Someone just sent a GIF of Hermione going "obliviate" to her JK Rowling, just like, stop talking. You're ruining everyone's life.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of like that kind of thing, isn't it, really? I mean, if, I don't get the feeling she's that kind of person that's going to say, nah, it wasn't there just because so many people are going there. I think she's genuinely like saying, no, it wasn't. I don't know why people think that,
Yeah,
I've never been there. I've never been to the Shambles. Why would that be Diagon Alley? I've never even seen it.
Yeah.
And there's going to be people going, what are you talking about? Never seen the Shambles. Of course you've seen the Shambles. Been on TV and,
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I mean, I wasn't thinking of that,
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, foremost in my mind.
I think it's maybe too much for people to think that this kind of stuff can just come out of her head.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, oh no, it must have been something she's seen somewhere. She couldn't have just totally invented that off the top of her. Nobody's that imaginative. You know what
nobody's
I mean?
that imaginative.
Yeah.
Stop being so silly, JK Rowling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, oh, that was pretty much the end of the thread.
Yeah.
The rest of it is everybody getting wound up and saying, no, you're wrong. You're
wrong, JK Rowling.
I don't care what you say anyway, because this is Diagon Alley. A lot of people go, no, I went to a Porter bookshop and had my photo taken outside of there. And I thought it was the real place. And it's like, yeah, she needs to put something on the website saying, okay, you want the lowdown, this is what it is.
But there must be a site out there, because, like, I had never heard of that Oporto bookshop before. There must be a site out there that, like, and I consider myself a pretty big Harry Potter fan. I mean, I've read the books multiple times. I've seen all the movies, like,
twice,
dozens of times.
Yeah, I only
each.
watched them twice.
Probably more than that.
Well, they come on ABC and everything over here.
It's like it's something to put on when you're cleaning the house or doing other things. Just the Harry Potter marathon.
Harry
Why not?
Potter, everybody. Harry Potter.
But I'm not someone who sits around like combing all the Harry Potter forums and websites and everything. But there must be a website
that lists all the places.
Yeah.
And they're probably just...
And people and hardcore fans who travel a lot, like, specifically set out to visit these places, you know what I mean? Because they've seen it on a website somewhere. So for that reason, I think it's great, actually, that she's said no.
Well, I think it's great because it's like it straightens things out. And it's just like, I was just making it up.
People are spending their money to go to places because there's such big Harry Potter fans. They want to go to these places where the author, was inspired to... blah blah blah,
But it's kind of like,
no, don't bother going there because it's not true.
It's not true. Yeah, it's like she didn't go there.
Yeah,
it's like she wasn't sitting there when she came up with Harry Potter. Or whatever, Dumbledore. Dumbledore's based on this, Dumbledore, Godric's Hollow's this town or whatever,
Yeah.
It's just kind of like...
there's got to be somewhere out there claiming to be the Godric's Hollow.
Oh,
inspiration.
probably. I can imagine it. There's several places to do that, But, yeah, it's kind of like people, are going to get annoyed about this, people whose livelihoods depend on it.
Yeah.
Pre-lockdown, yeah, if this was during the... I mean, she can come out and say this during lockdown because no one's doing the tours now, you know? But once it starts back up again, someone's going to be called a liar, And it's just kind of like, oh, and I can see a lot of them saying, oh, don't listen to her, she's just having a joke.
Yeah.
This is really where it is. It's like, yes. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Well, isn't there a place that was part of the thread also, but we didn't see it just now when we were looking back at it. There was a photo someone sent her or put out of some place, I think it was in Edinburgh, that was like JK Rowling never wrote here, because there's so many places in Edinburgh
that JK Rowling wrote here. JK Rowling wrote The Prisoner of Azkaban here.
Yeah.
And it's so, as a joke, this cafe put up a sign saying J.K. Rowling never wrote here.
Yeah.
And, it became such a big thing, the anti thing, because I'm sure they got many people going in here saying, oh, J.K. Rowling wrote here. Did she write here? Did she write Harry Potter here? She wrote Harry Potter. No, she didn't. No, she didn't.
Yeah.
The end of story.
Mm-hmm.
But people were coming in taking photos probably and just going, listen, she didn't write here, So they put up that sign as like a joke. And then she visited, it got so much attention that she visited and wrote underneath, and I never will.
Yeah. So therefore she did write there,
therefore she did write there. Yeah. So.
One of the few places where she actually did.
Yes.
No, but
But I mean, it's as she said, it's because I didn't write in these places. I didn't get inspired by these places. I was sitting in cheap flats, anywhere I could get a cheap cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I was making it all up.
Yeah.
Harry and fighting the dragon, the Quidditch, everything was just made up. It's like, it's just made up. I was just thinking about these things.
Yeah. What I
in
think
my own head. It wasn't some guy coming to me and saying, you know what they should do? They should invent a sport you can play on broomsticks.
Yeah. No, but I know we've seen some vloggers who have been to a couple of the places in Edinburgh, and the places won't even let you in just to photograph, like, the inside or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to buy something.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a racket.
Yeah. So
therefore she's right. I mean, the Elephant House probably does that too, but she said I did write there, so...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
anyway,
we thought that was a fun thread. We just wanted to talk about it.
We thought it was quite funny, yes.
I don't think we've ever done a Harry Potter, I don't think we've ever talked about Harry Potter.
I don't think we have. Yeah, would you be interested? Are you a Harry Potter fan? Let us know.
Let us know. Yeah, let us know if you would like us to talk more about Harry Potter. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. Dominic's a fan of Harry Potter. And if you want us to talk about Harry Potter, what specifically would you like us to talk about? Send in your ideas, and maybe we'll have another Harry Potter podcast coming at you.
And now you can end with that Dumbledore quote that you love so much.
Oh, my favorite quote.
Your favorite quote.
Yeah, my favorite quote. There's so many, actually, though, with
There
Dumbledore.
are. My favorite one is, one can never have too many socks.
Dumbledore is the best. But yeah, one of my favorite quotes, anyway, is the one where he says, happiness can be found in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. That's just such a beautiful...
And where did JK Rowling get that inspiration for that quote from?
Where was it?
When she turned on the light of the bathroom one day.
Which bathroom, though?
Which bathroom? The bathroom in the shambles. It was a house in the shambles.
The bathroom of the bookshop in Oporto.
The bathroom of the bookshop in Oporto, yeah. That's where she found all the Dumbledore quotes came to her there. She was in Marks and Spencer's looking at the socks, and she came up with that one can never have too many socks.
Oh my god.
That's actually quite interesting. That's something I'd like to ask her, actually. So if she's listening to this, where did you come up with the quotes for Dumbledore? Because they are kind of thought out.
Yeah.
They are kind of like, like they're kind of constructed. You know? I mean, did you just come up with them, or did someone say to you once, one can never have too many socks? And that's something Dumbledore would say. You know? It's because happiness can be found in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light.
Yes.
You know?
It's just like, she's
And it's
just
just
putting
like,
herself...
that's something Dumbledore would say.
She's just putting herself in Dumbledore's position. She's just like feeling Dumbledore, and she just like...
Getting all up in Dumbledore's feels.
Yes. If you did enjoy this podcast and would like to support us, there are multiple ways that you can do so.
Oh, yes.
The easiest way is to share our podcast with your friends, your family, everyone you know and love. Just spread the word and, help us get it out there, get more listeners, and then everything will be great.
Everything will be fantastic.
We also have...
One can never have too many podcasts. One cannot listen to Tea and a Buddy too many times.
Yes. We also have a store on our website where we make a small percentage of everything that's sold. It's through Amazon. So.
We also offer Harry Potter tours.
Yeah, they had no extra cost to you. We also offer, I just now heard that. You're messing me up. You're throwing me off.
We offer Harry Potter tours of Austin, of all the Harry Potter landmarks of Austin. Where she was inspired.
Oh my god. You can also leave us a review or a rating on whichever podcast app you're listening to us on, or you can check out our Patreon where you can offer monthly donations and receive in turn
access to
benefits.
All sorts of benefits.
Yeah. Extra podcasts.
One-on-one interviews with JK Rowling.
Thank you.
That's not actually, I'm joking about that. You can't really, before we get an influx of people going, okay.
Get out. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate your support, and we will talk to you next time.